fork is nice. Yeah, and the rebound doesn't jackhammer you like a Walmart fork. The bottom bracket's high, but it doesn't feel too far off from the Cannondale. And that one feels so natural. It's more natural than I thought. The handlebars could be higher. The bottom bracket goes up, but the handlebars don't go with it. 35 PSI is a little sketchy. It's so dry. Rebound's a little slow right now, so I'll turn that up. I don't have to worry about any pedal strikes.
Any what?
Any pedal strikes, because this thing is so high off ground. This will be a good test with the high bottom bracket. I know. This part needs to be redone. This thing has a lot of stiction when it's under pressure though. Like coming off those little rocks, you drop down, the front wheel wants to go forward and it just creates so much flex. Just when you go off those drops, the front wheel gets flexed forward and it just sticks the fork. Maybe I'm just so used to the lefty with zero stiction. But I mean, lefty feels good. What do you mean you're flat? Press down. Well, this might be a short ride. Well, you don't want to hit those carbon rims. All right. New Epic just got a flat tire. The lefty just with those needle bearings is crazy. How much of a difference it makes. This fork is good. Fast bumps, it could be better. That's what you get with a spring fork. But I mean, for 170 bucks, I'd much rather have this than get a vintage early 2000s fork with the 28 mils. Because I mean, really, you can send it. You don't gotta worry about that jackhammer Walmart type feeling. Because it has the rebound. never get that super annoying top out sound with all the metal clanking. And it absorbs those big stuff real well. The slow stuff. Big drop. High speed bumps doesn't really do too well. The little stuff it'll get. You get that bigger, chunkier stuff, the roots, it ain't really it. Mostly because it just has the stiction. Because I don't know what seals it has in there. It's just a little sticky. I still think it's much better than vintage fork, which has minimal adjustment. And the springs are usually too light. This one's nice and quiet. But basically, since it's a spring fork, you are gonna lack in some of the finer stuff, like the smooth travel and some of the fast bump stuff. Spring fork just doesn't work too well with that. 30 mil stanchion diameter. You really can't tell that it's not a 32, other than the sticker on the front, because it's just so well built. Unlike the old forks with 28 mil stanchions, you can really tell. Those things are so skinny, tiny, they flex. Like, this thing's built like a real fork. It is much better than your entry-level Suntour. Pros, cheap. It's the cheapest new fork you can get. It's a real fork with adjustments, rebound, preload, lockout. It has 30 mil stanchions, which honestly is fine. The stiffness does not suffer. It really does use all of the travel, all 100 mil, unlike your Suntour, which will only use half. And since it does adjust with the rebound, preload, you don't get that jackhammer feel of the older spring forks, the older Rockshox. And the cons I have with this fork is just the stiction is a little bit more than I would like. If you're going off a drop, just drop the front tire over a ledge. The fork just does not like to compress all that much. Going into bumps, very good. But coming down them, the fork just kind of sticks. And then the other big thing is, since it is a Springer, when you get into those taller, chunkier roots at high speeds, it cannot keep up. It doesn't dive down into the travel and then kind of get stuck there. It just stays upright, but every root is just a hard hit. And that could be the 26-inch wheels, but my lefty does it much better with that. But you do also notice it gets those small bumps pretty good. And it's all about that new adjustability, the weight, if that's something that you pay attention to. It's definitely not the lightest fork out there. That is for sure kind of chunky, which is a good and a bad thing. It means that you know it's not going to fall apart on you, but also does add a little weight. That log was tight. So rocky. Oh, the rocks are getting flung up. Also, surprisingly little brake time. That could be from the stiction, but it is something to note. The flow, it works good with high-speed routes like that. No way. It just doesn't work fast enough. Lock up when you're braking though. When you get real low and you're turning, that's another part where it sticks. For sure. You turn and there's bumps in the turn. So if you're really a hardcore rider, you might want a different, maybe the air version of this. But if you just casually ride and you want to make sure your fork never breaks, you don't have to do very much maintenance. I'm not sure there's a better fork. Just for maybe your casual beginner rider. I'm not saying you can't go hard on this thing, because you can blast this thing. Absolutely truck it through the corners, through the roots, high speeds. It's just not going to feel as good as something that's higher end. Compare this versus an old Rockshox jet, and you'll just see the size difference. It's crazy. It looks like a real fork, and it rides like a real fork.